Hey there everyone, this is Seb and welcome to another vlog thingy. I hope everyone's having a fine week and is doing great in general. Last week I wasn't doing so hot, hence the lack of a vlog thingy last week. Because I had this big wave of headaches, so didn't really feel like doing anything. Kind of comes with the territory I suppose, but yeah, occasionally I have these headaches. Sometimes they last for one day, sometimes they last for about 10 days, which really sucks. But yeah, they are very disabling because they are quite fierce sometimes, and yeah, it sucks. Luckily for me, they don't come up as often as they used to, but when they do, it's really crappy. Anyway, that's in the past, so yeah, welcome to another vlog thingy. So that's been 2 weeks, so I've got a lot to cover, I guess. So what have I been up to? Well, I've actually visited a fellow YouTuber. Well, he's not really making a lot of videos, though he has a couple up. But yeah, you will probably see him at some point on this channel as well, because we will be collaborating on some things. And he had an amazing collection. It was really awesome to see that, and some things I was quite jealous of, especially concerning his CDI stuff. On which he had quite a few rarities. And I'm not talking about Zelda's Adventure rare or, you know, Little Samson rare. No, I'm talking about things you can really hardly ever find. So yeah, that was really awesome, and on some of his unique items we will make some videos most likely, which would be awesome, and I'm looking forward to that. Not spoiling the whole thing yet on what it is exactly, but you'll see eventually if everything comes to fruition. So yeah, I've also last week had a friend over from Paris, a blind friend. He's part of the show that I'm also working on, and he was going to the Netherlands, so I invited him over for participating in one of our trainings, and later on he went to a tournament. Showdown, which is another blind sport. Well, they call it a sport, but I don't really consider it a sport just as much as darts. I don't really consider it a sport, but hey, whatever. it's a fun game, I suppose. If you know air hockey, it's like air hockey, but then on audio cues. So there's a bell in the ball, and the pedal is a bit bigger and such. I don't play it because every time I try to play it, the ball goes flying all over the place, and people have to go search for it. But I hear it can be fun, so I suppose. But yeah, I will say one thing: it's an ideal sport, like so many of those other sports, where it's just handy to have one hand where you pedal about, and you have one hand free for your beer. But no, I'm really not talking it down. It's supposed to be a fun activity. I just don't have very much experience in it, and he was doing a tournament, so I invited him over for also a training goalball, and it was a lot of fun having him over. And he actually brought me something. He has brought me some nice tea, some Thingies I tea, I think it's called, which is kind of this oolong tea, so it's right in between black and green, and yeah. It tastes amazing, it's great. It's like a Chinese tea. He's Vietnamese, from Vietnamese origin, so he has a lot of Chinese connections as well. He knows Chinese and lives in France, and it's an awesome dude. So thank you very much for that, Emmanuel, and yeah, I love the tea. Now the tea is here for another purpose, and that is because there is something that I still haven't done, and I should still do, and that is do a little taste test on the treats that Luke sent me. So, you know, I figured I might as well have something there in the case that there was something that tastes really bad in here. Now these, I'm pretty sure I will like very much, so I'm not too concerned with these. Those look great, so we'll save those for last. However, this one, I'm not really sure. As I understand, it's like green tea candy, and I love green tea, don't get me wrong, I love green tea, but typically the only way I know green tea is by drinking tea. And I do know that green tea can be bitter depending on the leaves and how you prepare it. So I'm not really sure what to expect from having that in a sort of sweet, and I just don't know even what kind of sweets these are. Like, what is the texture like? They are kind of sticks, and what else? I just do not know. So we're gonna just pop it open and see what we find in here. Now everything is packed in little packages. I think each packlet has like 4 sticks in there, and there's 4 of those packets in there, so I hope they're good because it's quite a lot. But yeah, I just have no clue. So that's basically why the green tea or the oolong tea is here. So, you know, if this turns out to be a bit bitter and nasty, I have something that can kind of quench that, but we'll see. Okay, so these are the sticks. And what do they smell like? Oh, they smell pretty sweet actually. Yeah, like some caramel is in there or something. This could be interesting. Let's have a taste. It's a bit crunchy. Yeah, there's something really sweet in there. Yeah, it's first a bit crunchy and then it gets a bit like paste-like almost. Oh yeah, and at the end there is the green tea. Just a hint of green tea. It's not... Yeah, it's green tea, but it's not the bitter kind. Yeah, I like these. No. These are good. I love this. That's good stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure what the sweet stuff is. It could be kind of caramel. Yeah, and at the end, like the tea flavor really gets through, which is nice. As I said, I love a good green tea, so it's really nice. I'm I'm glad Luke sent this stuff before he knew what I sent him. Because otherwise I might have gotten something really disgusting. I'm really sure. Yeah, let's try this one. Usually I'm not too big on too sweet, but this was actually not too sweet. This was, you know, just right. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be amazing as well, because I love chocolate, I love almonds, and this is supposed to have them both. Okay, so it's like kind of on a stick. I'm just gonna take one out here. So is this stick edible? I don't know. Probably, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just had to check before I go into some woody bits, but yeah, it's like a soup stick, you know, like a bread kind of stick, but it's slightly sweeter. So now with the chocolate and almonds. Yes. This is really, really good. Yeah, I love this stuff. This is great, man. Thank you so much, Luke, for both of these. They're amazing. They're... Now I need more of this stuff. Yeah, I can tell you this is not going to last long. I've got a bit of a sweet tooth now and then, especially for chocolate and nuts. Yeah, this tastes great. Thank you so much, Luke. These are amazing treats. Very glad to have tasted them. No, I don't think we can get these over here, so that's a shame. So I will need to send you more stuff, so you send me more stuff in return and can add some more of this stuff. And I might send you some more licorice. Why not? I'm a pal. Oh man. Yeah, this is great. I'm gonna quickly take a sip of tea. To kind of clean my teeth as well. So there's no bits of chocolate poking out of there. So yeah, this was a little taste test. Lovely stuff. Really enjoy it. And another thing I recently found, because I did intend to send something else over to Luke, and I was looking about on getting a particular item, and I ran into something interesting, because I found, which actually ties into why I love collecting for CDI, or pretty much any relatively obscure console, and that is because you can sometimes run into stuff that you just did not know about existed. Which I find really, really interesting. And I found one such titles here, which is called The Art of Performing. Now, the title itself is not so interesting. It's basically like a little promotion CD for a Dutch, for like the primary Dutch media outlet, or the NOB it was called. And they basically arranged all the cameras and the studios and such for all the big television broadcasts. And they apparently made this CD, which kind of tells you a bit about how they go about their business and how awesome they are, of course, and how many employees they have. Like, that's very important. And I just never knew this existed, and I found it, and just very interesting, you know, to find it. And I'm looking on the internet as well to see if anyone else has any info on it, and I can't find anything on this thing. And it is a properly like pressed CD. I don't think this was ever sold. It doesn't have a barcode and such. My guess is that maybe they gave this like to the employees as a I just don't know. Maybe they gave it to the employees at some point. But it's just interesting to find a CD which was actually pressed and such, and somehow released out there for the system, that not a whole lot of people seem to know about. Now, if you do know about this title, please let me know if you have any info on it. I'd be very curious to know why this got issued out, and I think it's actually quite late. Seeing from the bits that are on there and looking back at the TV history, it has to be from at least, at the earliest, I think 1996 that this is made. But yeah, so just very, very, very awesome to find such stuff. And this is not a rare thing on CDI. That is the most fun thing. You often find stuff in lots, for example, where you just go about, I've never heard about this. Now, usually someone has found something on this title before, and it's somewhere obscurely hidden on the internet somewhere. But occasionally you also find some things you just don't find any info on at all. I also have, for example, a beta disc for Myst, which is a lot of fun, which is cool. And you know, it's like stuff like that is really interesting, and you don't really have that with the NES anymore, where people pretty much know everything that's known, and it's very rare that someone finds something that's not dumped yet, for example. And with CDI, a lot of my titles have never been dumped yet. Perhaps one day I will sit down to help that along as well, but a lot of work and such. But it's just cool. A lot of games you cannot find on the internet yet on that system, and I just usually always prefer to play the stuff on the actual hardware, so you know, that's cool. And it's not hard to play downloaded games on CDI, by the way, because you can just burn a disc and it'll play just fine, which is really awesome nowadays, because you can just play any game you want, really, that is dumped at least. And most CDI titles are dumped, by the way, so you know, if you want to try out some of the library but not pay stupid amounts of money, for example for Zelda's Adventure, or some of the other more obscure titles or harder to find titles, like some of those really, really rare ones, you can do that, and that's awesome. Of course, you can also do that with the NES and such, with Neverdrive and such, so you know, there's never really a problem anymore, and it's really cool to make things accessible, because the prices nowadays, they are really kind of ridiculous, and it really kind of drives me out of the urge to collect for some systems. Like for the NES, I barely ever look anymore, because it's just, I'm not paying €10 for the most crappy and most common games, you know. No, thank you. And when you get to the actually good games, they're like €30 or something. That's kind of steep. But whatever. Well, for an actually good game like Kirby's Adventure, it's not so big of a problem. But then you've got the so-so games which have the same price, and no, not interested as much. So I think it's good that there's like Everdrives and such, so people can still enjoy games on the actual hardware, whilst not having to break the bank, as it were. But anyway, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think like these kind of objects are good, like the Everdrives for systems? And what are your stories about games that you found that you have just never heard of before and just had to look up from, what is this? I'm sure you had some. I had plenty where I just picked up pretty much for every system I own, where I picked up a game and I had just no clue what it was. And sometimes things can be quite surprising. I'm thinking of an example now, but I can't think of one. But I'm pretty sure on the PS2 there's quite a few games that I picked up. I had no clue what they were, and they were actually quite good. It's basically how I picked up my games to begin with. So I have a couple of games that are now quite rare, and I just picked up at random in the shop and bought them as a budget title, and they turned out to be pretty good. Now also turned out that I have a lot of stinkers because of that, but still it was kind of cool to go against the norm of only buying the AAA 9 out of 10 games from magazines and such, and just explore the stuff that's left behind by gamers. Something I've always enjoyed. But yeah, what are your stories about that? Have you ever run across a game that you just never heard of before and just had to look up something about it? Or maybe even found a game that it was uncatalogued before, where you seem to be like the first one who ever ran into it. Now it doesn't mean that you are, of course, because not everyone posts stuff on the internet. But yeah, for example, this CDI game, The Art of Performing, I can't find anything on it. So, you know, it's pretty cool to find that and run into that and just have a go at it. It's not an interesting title because it's quite boring, honestly, and it's all in Dutch, so, you know, showing you makes little sense. But still, it's a cool item to add to the collection, I find. So yeah. Anyway guys, I think that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed it very much. Thank you as always very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye bye for now.